Alright, so we made it down to Teniente. We were here last year, both Daniel and I, and this is kind of where we were on the end of our last hunt. So we're gonna pick up where we left off, check it out, maybe set up a ground blind if we find a good spot. Just look around, see what we can see.
Hopefully we can get it done again this year and come away with some meat in the freezer.
Yeah, and I think the weather's gonna be pretty good. Maybe a little bit rainy at the end. Today it's a little bit hot, but not too bad.
Yeah, it's a little cloud covered earlier today. Nice blue skies now, and there should be some rain in the forecast, which maybe will get them up and moving. See what happens.
And that's a Nilgai track.
A little bit bigger.
Way bigger. There's so many little deer trails out here. We quit marking them on X. Lots of sign, but it means we're in a good area, but it means it's harder to pick out the exact specific spot we want to sit. So that looks like coyote scat. An old dried up wallow. And that's Nilgai. Yeah. Lots of good sign. That doesn't look like Nilgai as much as just deer and maybe javelina or something. We just wind bumped a little doe that was bedded down in here. So that's...
It's 3 doe and an animal that we don't know yet.
Yeah. So at least 3 deer in an hour in scouting. Participation trophy right there.
Dude, that's cool.
There's another one. We got like a little rub line going on. That tree back there too. 20 yards.
Oh yeah. Oh, and over there?
Yeah.
And over there?
Yeah, dude. Some buck's making a ton of little rubs.
First, like, 20 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, this grass was like shoulder high. This is way better.
We
All
saw
right.
probably like 15 bobwhites just...
There are still quail in Texas. At least 10 of them.
That got me good.
Yeah, that's not a bad little spot.
You can see the trail.
Scared me. There's a rat crawling through this cactus. But this looks like a pretty good rub right here. In the trail. 90 yards. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's just bud to us. But we got the wind on it, so just hang tight. Oh, we saw that little fawn. See something? I thought I just heard a pig. We saw that little fawn back there, and then I just saw something run across the trail.
I mean, that's like we've seen 13 deer already. This is just 2 hours into our scout.
Another little prize. What's that? Yeah, I don't.
Why did the pig cross the road? Because he wanted to get shot with an arrow.
We just saw 2 little ones run across the road.
Oh my gosh, I've never wanted to like just jump out and run and strangle something more. I got a knife on me.
Oh, yeah, that's with the rifle it would have just kablam, but not in the road.
Nope, not in the road, and that would be illegal since we're not on property we own.
And the hunt day doesn't even start till tomorrow.
That is correct.
But good to see 2 little piggies. Why'd the turkeys cross the road?
They're just walking right down the middle of it.
There's what, 20 of them?
Yeah. guess that answers our question if there's turkeys out here.
Yeah, it's the one thing we can't shoot, unfortunately. I'm sure they'll scatter when we get close, but let's see if we can slow roll up to them.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Here we are, first morning, Teniente, second year in a row. About to head down this trail here to an area that Pliny and I scouted yesterday. Lots of deer. I think we saw 11, which is insane, in about an hour and a half. So we're looking forward to it. Hopefully we can knock a deer down or see some Nilgai and get something done. Let's go.
We each sat in the brush overlooking an open cutaway, trying to play the wind as best we could. This looked like a pretty good spot, but I had not seen anything right at first light. Meanwhile, Daniel tried to draw back on some javelina, but they busted him right on the draw. While Daniel was off threatening the stink pigs, I had some deer come in and had an interesting encounter. So I took a long shot on a doe, about 50 yards. I thought it was a clean miss, but I just found my arrow and it's got blood all over it. So I did hit her. So now I gotta see if I can pick up a blood trail. 50 yards is a pretty long shot on a jumpy white-tailed doe, so I was pleasantly surprised to find this much blood and all bright red, good vascular blood. Holy crap, y'all, there she is. Dude, I thought I missed this deer. It was a 50-yard shot. I thought I missed this deer. And then I found the arrow and it looked so good. I found a little drop of blood, little drop of blood, little drop of blood, and then I kept going. It kept getting better and better. Yo, this is a big old doe. And that shot, dude, the shot was for 50 yards. Way better than I thought. Yes. Y'all, I got lucky. I was aiming right here. Look at that, right in the sternum. That was a long shot too, and so when I saw the arrow just keep going, I thought I had missed, but it just zipped right through that and basically cut all those critical veins kind of at the base of the heart. And she ran a good ways, 100 yards or so. Wow. All right, y'all, I went and got my pack, got my orange on. There you go. Go back there and cut her up and hike her out in pieces. So many hunters are hampered by where they can get a truck or a game cart to drag a deer out. That's why we always just do it right in the field, using the gutless method. We split the hide, go in for the back strap, and with two guys it makes it pretty easy because one of you can take each quarter. One person working on the back hip and the ball joint while the other person cuts out the shoulder. So you get that back strap out, skin the hide down a little further, get those quarters, and you can get a lot of the trimming on the outside of the ribs and on the outside of the body as well. Really, the only downside to this method is you don't get the ribs, but I'm not the biggest fan of deer ribs, and a lot of times they don't have a lot of meat on these small southern deer anyway. I do occasionally split open between the 4th and 5th rib, and I actually am able to get the heart, and I almost always am able to get the tenderloins by making a small incision and reaching in, not having to touch any guts at all. Our goal is to be hiking out with just a couple game bags containing the head, which you're required to take as legal proof of sex in Texas, the neck, bone in, 4 quarters, all bone in still. If you have time, you can bone them out, but it was pretty hot, so we don't typically do that. The heart, the tenderloins, the back straps, and then another bag of trimmings. Personally, I think people who drag the entire deer out causes a lot of wasted effort. You're bringing the spinal column, the ribs, and the guts. Might as well leave those for the coyotes. So I have no idea if I got it on camera or not, but after I stuck that doe, I got up to move forward a little bit and then to look for the arrow, and I saw a big old pig coming through, and I drew back and definitely hit it like in the ham, like right in the cheek meat. But I saw my arrow sink in pretty good, and there's a lot of big veins in there, so, and it's a sharp foreblade, so there's a chance I killed it, but I'm not feeling great about it. So in general, we wanted to get that doe wrapped up, taken care of first before we even messed with this hog. And it's hot out here, so even if it's dead, we may not get all of it, but we're gonna go give it a look-see.
See what we can find.
So Daniel had to.
My tracking skills.
Well, we gave it a good effort on the pig, and we actually found pretty good blood. We followed blood drips for, what do you think, quarter mile?
Yeah.
But then the blood started being very just like sandy, and so we think the pig laid down in the sand and basically packed the wound, because we found a few more like that and then nothing else. So we looked for a little while, and then we're calling it, just because it's a pig and it's hot, and we're gonna go get some lunch.
Time to go eat.
We came back after a nice Mexican food lunch and started hiking in the trail from the opposite direction. Hiking in, we thought we heard something in the brush, so of course we had to check it out, but turns out we never saw anything there. With our first area blown up pretty good from the doe and a slight shift in the wind, I move over to set up a new spot that looks pretty promising for the evening. It was definitely hot that day, hot and windy, which aren't ideal conditions, but sometimes you just have to work with what you're given. I was looking back into the woods, but also on another cutaway. With an intersecting game trail, I sat about 30 yards directly downwind of that trail, hoping something would come out, walking along that trail and cross into the open. Unfortunately, I didn't get it on camera, but I had a Nilgai bull step out right there, and you can actually hear my arrow fly off the bow and hit the animal. To say the least, I was pretty damn excited. I just hit a bull. A really, really big bull. There were two bulls. I think they were fighting or something. One ran through, and the other one came panting. He was exhausted. I saw him through the trees. I saw him at about 38, 40, and right when he stepped out, he was a little closer, but my 30 bit on him. It looked like a good hit. Alright, y'all. Found the back of the arrow. Dude, absolutely soaked in blood, and 5 inches of arrow is all that's left. I think it sunk that deep in him. Oh, man. Oh. That's so cool. Sucks that I'm looking at dark, but man, that seemed like a solid hit. So he stepped out right here. I was basically at that tree 32 yards away, and I think I just smacked him. Whew. I'm gonna start looking for blood, but I'm gonna be gentle. These are big, freaking mean animals. I'm gonna wait for Daniel to get here before I push in too far. Daniel showed up and we followed every trail and track we could find. We searched for over 2 hours and never found another drop of blood. I think the hit must have just been high and this animal could have easily run a half mile. It was a frustrating way to end a very exciting day of bow hunting, but we were back at it the next morning and I was greeted with a sighting of a coyote. It's always cool when another predator doesn't spot you immediately, and you get to watch him in the wild. After the coyote, it was peaceful and calm for a little while, and then I got to see a couple deer step out on the trail. Out of range, but always good to see. Well, sat all morning in what looked like a decent spot, about 25-30 yards from this trail crossing. Saw those coyotes, saw doe and a fawn down there, too far out, and I don't know if I'd take a doe anyway, after already having one in the cooler. What's frustrating about a spot like this is you look one way on a trail and you have to kind of focus all your attention and bet on one direction while everything else behind you is getting your wind. So that makes it a little difficult because you can't actually hunt both directions on a trail realistically with a bow. So it's a little bit tough, but didn't see a ton this morning. I think Daniel may have taken a long shot that didn't work out, but he's headed my way, and then we're gonna kind of slowly still hunt our way out of here. We started running into a lot of hunting pressure from other hunters in the same area. So we just went to basically, what's the way we can be on this property and be further away from everybody else? And we got in this area that looks totally different. There's a network of little game trails all through it, but it's tough to hunt. It's just stuff like this all throughout. So it's not like, you know, watching some trail or some gap or some opening. It's little bitty trails and tall grass everywhere. So I'm just gonna sit up in here and keep my head on a swivel. I mean, there's Nilgai poop, deer poop, lots of trails. There's lots of sign here, but it's just, I have no idea what the pattern is. They can come from anywhere. So once again, Daniel and I divided up to hunt in this mysterious thicket. We knew there were tons of animals. It was just hard to tell where they were going to come from. Daniel had the first opportunity on a decent-sized Nilgai cow. Again, it was a long shot, 45 or 50 yards. As he let one fly, you can tell that the animal reacted to the sound of the string and ducked nearly a foot. What was already a tough shot was made tougher by animals that were so twitchy and keyed on.
Well,
briefing on the morning?
Yeah, we're about to head out. We found a new track yesterday. Pretty good little strip. It's real thick back there. I saw 2 cow Nilgais, took a shot at one, missed it. Saw a couple of little deer. But there's been a slight change here. So it's been about, I don't know, 85, 90 the whole time. And this morning it's 49 degrees out with a really stiff north wind. We had a pretty big storm last night, I guess, that came through. So we're geared up a little bit more than we thought we would be down here in South Texas. I got Pliny finally wearing Sitka, which is kind of fun. And we'll see if we can go out there and hopefully this wind and this cold's got them kind of stirred up a little bit walking around, and hopefully we can stick an arrow in something.
It's all just walking in through all this thick stuff. As bow hunters, you navigate through the woods hoping to find a spot for a close shot. And you play the wind, hoping it's in your favor and you can line it up correctly. But sometimes it feels like the wind is just playing you and you just can't do it right. Well, it's sustained winds of at least 15 out here, gusting to 25. And I just don't think they're coming out in the open in this wind. It's a good looking area, but I'm gonna head back in the woods where it's a little more sheltered. It truly was a maze back in the trees. And if you've ever hunted South Texas, you know not only is it thick, but everything is prickly. I was able to find a lot of sign, including fresh scat and a brand new deer scrape that looked like it had been touched the night before. I sat up about 25 yards downwind of this scrape in case another buck decided to come check it out. With the high winds continuing, we were afraid that the evening sit was going to be more of the same. Cold, wind, lots of sign, but no game. So we decided to move north and check out a new area. We saw several rubs, lots of tracks, lots of poop, both whitetail and Nilgai. And we found an area that looked to be a little bit more open, with lots of good sign. This is where we were going to sit up for the evening, and hopefully this is where we were finally going to get it done. You can't cut any branches on a national wildlife refuge, but if there's sticks on the ground, you can pile them up into a little makeshift nest to form a ground blind. Not long after sitting, I had been busted by some deer behind me who got my wind, and then I had 2 small Nilgai calves walk out, just beyond 30 yards at a very comfortable distance. Unlike the bull or the deer earlier, I actually had time to line up the camera and then draw back and take my shot. The animal reacted like it was hit, but then ran and kept going and kept going. Reviewing the shot, my bow made a little bit of a strange sound and I pulled the shot left, The animal also dropped a little bit. Lots of issues here, and it was frustrating because I know I've taken shots much longer than this. At this point, I was thinking the shot was better than it actually was. Maybe a little bit of redemption for me tonight. I heard a doe back behind me blow and ran off with a buck chasing her, and I was really disappointed. And I kept scanning and looking that way, and I saw a Nilgai calf walk out, and then another one, and I watched them, and they came all the way up to here, about, I don't know, 32, 33 yards, not very far. And I waited for them to step out. As soon as I had a clear shot on the first one, I took it, 30 pin right behind the shoulder. Looked like a good hit, but they took off running all the way across that field. So they ran a good ways, but it's fairly open in here, so I'm gonna go look for the arrow. Well, I was searching for a while, and I just finally found blood from mine. So I'm gonna follow this, see what I can find. While I was looking for one calf, Daniel actually had a chance to draw on the other calf that had run his way. This one actually looked like a great hit, square in the body with the animal reacting. He didn't have a lot of time, but he made a good shot. Meanwhile, I was tracking my Nilgai, and I actually saw it get up and run off, so I knew the cut I had made was not a vital one. We searched for Daniel's for hours and still never found it. These things just don't bleed. Alright, y'all. It's our last morning out here, which it's been a tough hunt. No joke about it. I mean, very thankful to get that doe on the first day, and then we stuck a couple Nilgai since then, but haven't recovered any. So this last hunt, we're just giving it everything we got. Going back to a place where we started out. Daniel's on one far end, I'm on the other. Trying a spot I haven't sat before, but it's a spot where we saw some deer walking out, so hopefully we get something. At this point, I see a legal deer, I'm gonna fling one, but we'll just see what happens. We were admittedly a bit beaten down and discouraged at this point. From an opening day that was full of shot opportunities and full of a taste of success, things were balancing out. These are the highs met by the lows of bow hunting. We went back into this area. Daniel saw several deer. I saw a few deer cross through the woods, too far out of range, and they looked small. Then after sitting on the trail for a while, I actually had a button buck cross at about 15 yards, which was a cool encounter, but obviously not something I'm going to shoot at. When we look back on this adventure, if we look back and say, we drove that whole distance for one white-tailed doe, it doesn't seem worth it. But when I look back and got to see Nilgai antelope, including a good bull, I got to see coyotes, I got to see lots of deer, and I got an adventure out in an area where a lot of people don't get to hunt. I'm thankful for the trip, I'm thankful for the challenge, and I hope that it will make me a better bow hunter and a better adventure seeker as we move forward.